what fulfills me in that porta potties and septic waste disposal stuff is not pretty, but it's very consistent and it's constantly needed. And also there's variations of how I'm doing it that are so different and I hope refreshing compared to the status quo.
Rex Wolferman, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and how that formed you into who you are today.
We're just going deep. We're starting deep.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
I guess I don't know really how my childhood shaped who I am currently, other than, I've been obsessed with like the outdoors since I was a kid, and growing up in Missoula right around the time that my parents adapted the mentality of be home when the streetlights come on or be home at dark and gave me a little leeway. Missoula had punched in a bunch of paved biking trails that took me to really cool chunks of Missoula that I was able to now explore on my own on my bike. And so I didn't work hard at all when I was a little kid. I hated working. I would just wanted to fish every single day of the summer or ride my bike or build jumps and now I love building things, and that goes hand in hand with work and being a professional. But to this day, all I wish I could do is ride my bike and hunt and fish and have fun every single day. And that hasn't changed. I still, every waking moment, I'm trying to just be active and do fun things. And so Missoula, the environment that I grew up in, really complemented my obsession with the outdoors.
What do you think it was about fishing or building jumps in the outdoors that grabbed you at a young age? Was that something that you did with your dad?
My mom's psychoactive. She's same way, always moving, almost to the point of contention with me, to where I'll be smoked, we'll be done doing something very difficult, and she'll see if she can scrape out another little effort. And I'm like, dude, we're done, Mom. Let's go home. And she's like, well, I'm actually gonna hop on, like if we have our bikes or whatever. She's like, I'm gonna ride out in front of you, a couple switchbacks, and I'm like in the truck, just steam rolling off my head, like dying. And I'm like, all right, go. So like that's a hereditary thing. My dad definitely introduced me to fishing and hunting, and had a huge impact on just my love for wild landscapes and conservation of those landscapes. I had really cool grandpas too. My one grandpa, my mom's dad, him and I still chill and golf quite a bit. They live in Sealy throughout the summer, so I go hang with him a lot. But he definitely dug that fishing hook into me, no pun intended.
Wow, that was really good.
Yeah, right.
Really good.
So my grandpa in Great Falls, I'd go out and hang out on his job sites. He was a home builder in Great Falls. He owned Rocky Mountain Homestead. It was really cool. So like I could go out there, I'd go to his job sites, I'd pick up nails, mess around, be a liability. And then we would fish the Missouri. And so that was really cool. And then he taught me about small stream fishing and stuff. And then my other grandpa that, my uncle, Chris, my uncle's Chris Wolf on the radio. He's a radio DJ here in town. He used to call my grandpa, his dad, the pirate, because he was an unhealthy, crazy diabetic that had a leg amputated. And so he would hobble around, but he bought a sailboat and moved to put it on Lake Coeur d'Alene, and he would sail like an actual pirate. But he was an incredible entrepreneur. He wasn't good at retaining and curating and making long-term success out of his efforts, but he founded the Shack restaurant that just sold, I think, did M80?
Yeah, M80 chicken.
Yeah, M80 is now in that building. So my grandpa founded the Shack. I think it was with his friend Frank. He bought like multiple trailer courts, like on a handshake deal and a small amount down, and then like improve them. But he was nuts. He was bipolar. He had, substance addiction issues, and he would go into really fun manic stages and then low stages where he'd the ebb and flow was nuts. He'd lose everything or just forfeit everything and then kind of crawl his way back with interesting ways. But
Rex, you mentioned you born and raised in Missoula.
mm-hmm.
A little bit about your childhood. Where'd you go to school? What schools did you attend?
Shout out Community Hospital.
Community Hospital.
And we're back in the game.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to the St. Pat's Labor Department, but we're back.
Your community.
Missoula kids were born in community.
That's right.
That used to be kind of a mean joke, but like someone would say they're born at St. Pat's. You're like, you're not a real
exactly.
Missoula kid. But anyway, yeah. So day one community. Then I went to Hawthorne Elementary off Third because my mom started her teaching career there and she loved the faculty, and that was cool. Because Emma Dickinson had just closed, which is now the Adult Lifelong Learning Center. So I could walk down to a bus stop and then rip right down to Hawthorne, and Hawthorne was awesome. I met still some of my best friends that I still have to this day at Hawthorne. Then I went over to Porter, banging it out at Porter with the crazy Porter kids, got to meet all the Northside, Franklin.
Porter kids are tough.
Porter kids are very gritty.
Okay, we'll go gritty.
Yeah. So then straight to Big Sky from there. And it was for a second there, was on the fence about Sentinel or Big Sky because I kind of split the districts. Like my parents lived right up against Benson's cornfield. And so I could have gone anywhere, but
I feel like you made the right choice.
100% unequivocally. Like, I'm not one of those dudes that hangs a ton of weight on high school, but I thrived, socially at Big Sky. My best friends still, they went to Big Sky. The Target Range kids were so just accommodating. So
what year did you graduate from Big Sky?
10. Yep.
What was school fun for you, or just like 10 minutes of getting to know you a little bit? It seems like you got some energy, you like being outside. Typically school might be hard for a personality similar to yours.
Oh, curriculum and academics. No, not fun at all. It was a grind the whole time.
Sure.
Just knocked out the assignments, hated homework. Fortunately at Big Sky, there were some really cool alternative classes. Social criminology with Jerry O'Reilly was really awesome. He'd have ex-cons and interesting people come in and talk about, legal system, and then natural resources with Jim Doolittle was incredible. We would go to logging units, and we went to Pyramid Lumber, and we learned all about natural resources and the, conservation of those things. But the standards, the core curriculum, I hated with everything in my being, other than like government and history.
Totally.
But a lot of that has to do with who's teaching it. I love those teachers, and they, fortunately I had teachers in my life that recognized my strengths and weaknesses, and they would accommodate that. But yeah, it's a social thing. I loved going to school, being with my friends, playing sports, running around. Just, yeah.
You said your mom was a teacher at Hawthorne.
She taught Porter. She ended up going to Porter.
So she just went along with you guys.
Yeah, believe me. Oh gosh. So like there was a moment in time that 8th grade Rex and mid-40s Corey Wolferman were identical people. She looked like probably a skinny little teenage boy, like a pretty version, feminine version of a teenage boy. And I just looked like her. But nightmare story about sharing a school with your mom as a teacher. My friends and I grew out our hair pretty much to your length. And we were growing out our hair, and then we were going to get perms.
Of course.
And
it's a rite of passage.
Yeah, we were all excited about the perm. And so we all were at school, and I'm like, hey, get the perm. My mom got the kit, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, cool. I go home and I get my perm, and I just have this curly fro. And my mom's like, well, there's still some perm chemicals left. I'm gonna do it. She gave herself a perm. I was like, right on. Like, whatever. I didn't care that much. We go to school together the next morning. All my friends buzz their heads and they have clean, nice haircuts. And my mom and I are standing there with identical perms, and we look identical. Like and mine grew out kind of weird into like this mullet thing, maybe like an old woman or something. It looked not cool. And I go,
So
you know what,
great.
whatever. And that is kind of my first time I really had to own my narrative and embrace. I was so embarrassed. I wanted to throw up. I was so scared. And I just said, whatever, And then I threw a hat on and it looked kind of cool with the hat, like curled up.
How long did you leave the hair?
Oh, dude, I kept it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to ski camp and it grew out even cooler. So I'm like, whatever. The perm was the move, but
That's
you guys
awesome.
got me good. And it didn't help that my mom and my student ID and my mom's faculty ID, you can't tell the difference.
So awesome. Growing up, what'd your dad do?
He was a smoke jumper.
Okay.
For the Forest Service, career smoke jumper. He ended up wrapping up his career as a law foreman, but pretty impressive. Mandatory retirement for a smoke jumper is 57. As I knew a bunch of salty old smoke jumpers that he rookied with, and they stuck with him. But nowadays it's a fun, really interesting thing to do for a little bit, and then you generally gravitate toward maybe an administrative thing. But my dad hung in there, and because you have to pass the PT test, even if you're like for him, parachute loft foreman, he handled the ins and outs of the parachute loft, which is really important for like packing chutes and quality control and stuff. But he's on the jump list, and he's like 56. He's getting fire calls and jumping into the bob and having to pack out and stuff. But yeah, I got like little imposter syndrome hitting here, like sitting here, because dad's a smoke jumper, mom's a educator, little brother's a pro skier, like all my family's quite a bit cooler than me. So like me sitting here is kind of like,
What was the dream when you were 8th grade Rex, twinning with your mom? What did you want to be when you grew up? Like what'd you think the future, what'd you hope the future was?
I didn't. I thought maybe I wanted to be a game warden, right? Like FWP, because I just wanted to be outside. Then I shadowed a game warden, and he's like, if you like hunting, you'll hate this. And I'm
Right.
like, oh.
Sort of like being a golf pro.
Yeah. And you want to hang out with the grumpiest, meanest dudes, hang out with golf pros. Or like just walk in for a tee time 15 minutes early and they just glare at you. Like there's got to be something there. They hate golf. Nobody hates golf more than golf pros. But like FWP is like, dude, our peak season is hunting season. And you see the ugliest side of, people poaching or trespassing. And so I rode with him, and I'm like, all right, well, this is not the move. And I also know that I would not.
Like, dang it, I want to be one of the poachers.
Right? Yeah. Like,
I want to be.
Dude,
I want to be a trespasser.
I'm gonna be a dirty FWP guy, and I'm gonna have access to everything unrestricted. No, so like one thing, I have hard lines on certain things, and like ethics and legality when it comes to outdoor recreation is a hard line for me. I don't trespass. I don't shoot anything. That's like, so like, that's a funny joke, but like, give you a little clarification. That is my hard line.
Well, let me dive there real quick. Where does that sense of integrity for hunting in the outdoors, where did that develop? How did that develop?
100% my dad. 100%. Okay. Like poachers, lowest of the low, trespassers, low. Yeah. And he basically, like, even when I was younger, if I flirted with boundaries and pulled some stunts, I was so embarrassed of myself, like just in my own head, that I deviated from what he taught me there. It's standard ethics, but in that case, that's my hard line when it comes to, just because I also really care about how people view modern hunters and fishermen and stuff, and the thought of me letting everyone else down and sullying the name even more so than others do, that would be so embarrassing to me and my dad, and I would hate that.
So why not go down the path that your dad went down? Because I'm sitting here, I'm a teenage boy, my dad's a smoke jumper. I'll be like, I want to be like that guy. I have an in to go down that route. Why wouldn't Rex want to become?
Well, there's so much there. The outdoors.
Yeah, you're right.
Just the adrenaline.
Yep. So that's fair and accurate. I said out loud at like 19 that I wanted to be a smoke jumper, but I'd never worked for the feds prior to that. Full disclosure, hate the feds. I hate bureaucracy. I'm not like a crazy anti-government dude, but I did not. I fought fire. I went on a type 2 crew right out of high school in the summer and fought fire. And I'm like, and my dad will tell you too, he's not critical of me recognizing the bureaucracy and the mismanagement of public money in forest management that he knows I would resent, and I do resent it. We'd knock out project work that I'd never see come to fruition, and that would drive me nuts. Just burning through public resources to just do busy work in the woods, and I'd watch fire budgets just. It really annoyed me because I have like this autistic trait of efficiency, and I freak out over gross inefficiency. Like it's okay here and there, but like just in your face, inefficient use of especially public funds drove me nuts. Mm-hmm. Also, now I hate flying. I'm really afraid of small aircraft flight. I do probably more dangerous things than flying, but I had a scary landing once, and that freaked me out so bad that now I just don't like it. And also when you're on fires, and it's really difficult work. Smoke jumping is different. And I never did get to really enjoy that because you get in there, you knock out a whole bunch of work, kind of contain a fire, then you might have some air support too. And then you're in there until you camp and you hang out with, they call them the jumper bros. It's not really like that on a type 2 crew. It is, you work 14, 15 hours, then you go to a man camp and you get in your greasy sleeping bag, you eat camp food, and you wake up and you do it again and again. And it's not fun.
During the nicest part of the year here in Montana.
100%. Yeah. Except you're wearing a Nomex shirt and it's 1,000 degrees and
it's kind of like working for FWP and being an officer.
Yeah.
You're missing out on the best season.
And you're working.
And you're doing the hard work.
Yeah. You can't. I'm like I call myself a chronic optimist. So I'd always take a second. Like I'd take pictures, especially down in like the Southwest, like see lizards and horny toads and cool stuff that I don't normally see out here on fires, and pick up elk sheds, and it's cool and you can take it in, but I didn't really enjoy, I suppose, having to be there, collect a paycheck. I like the natural progression would be a photographer guide, but I was raised by 2 feds that hammered retirements and good benefits and stuff into me. And I never felt the confidence immediately to get my guide license, apprentice under an outfitter, and just be a guide. Sure. Then again, I love hunting and animals so much that some turd from New Jersey that just dismisses it as a book trip and doesn't respect the animals, that would drive. Nothing against New Jersey people, but I just have been around like people that don't love and appreciate the landscape and the animals as much as I do. I've guided them, and I can't put that aside.
So where did life take you post Big Sky? What'd you end up doing? What was?
Went to the U, played club rugby at the U, and then joined. So there was a utility startup here in town. Actually, my coach of my Y basketball team, his son and I skied together and stuff, and he started a utility locating company and landed the Blackfoot Communications fiber locate contract. And I started learning how to do that. And then I got into contract negotiations. And then he worked with state level agencies to create like a real apprenticeship to where I was able to be a part of large easement acquisition negotiations for utility easements. And my entire territory was Western Montana, and it was a perfect environment for me where I have my laptop, my equipment, my little Tacoma, and I just ripped around, and it was totally autonomous as long as I got the work done, which I did, and I did well. I loved that so much. So that's what introduced me to utilities. But then I went to a showcase rugby tournament on the West Coast, and I got picked up, or I got offered to go play in the UK for a team, and so I bailed and I went and did that. Played with the team over in Plymouth, England, and then we toured Europe, Eastern Europe, went to Czech Republic and Germany and France and stuff, and that was definitely worth doing. And then when I came home, I was able to just rejoin that startup and build it for the next 2 years before they sold to a larger utility conglomerate in San Antonio. And I could have gone there, but I'm married to Montana, and I'll never. I'd go over there and help set up, get that established. But no matter what, I'm here.
Let's take a little break.
Yeah.
I want to jump back into your tour of England here in a second.
Oh,
but
sure.
Let's jump into our rapid fire questions. What is your first initial memory of Missoula, Montana?
Yeah, I'd say farmers market back when it was down by the X's. For some reason, summers were really cool with my mom and I before all my siblings came, because her and I would just go ride our bikes and get
Perms.
Perms. Yeah, no, we'd get loose caboose, and I'd get Bernice's Bakery raspberry turnovers, and we just walk around. I'd smell the basil and meet the Hmong people, and she'd buy cucumbers. And I was probably like 4, and so I was thinking about like what's the earliest memory I can think of in Missoula that is uniquely Missoula, and I'd say farmers market.
What's your favorite coffee shop?
My spot is Loose Caboose Mullen. Kinley Brandt takes care of me. She's awesome.
It's the second time we've heard that location and that barista.
Really?
She's the best?
In my opinion, yeah. Yeah, dude. Well, and I don't want a cold shoulder Copper Mountain,
Of course.
because my wife and I smash Lotuses, but that's our little thing.
Yeah.
And they take care of her. And that's also kind of annoying to glance at our monthly statement and be like, dang, $120 in Lotuses. That's skinny up the budget, but love that.
It gets worse if you have a teenage daughter.
Yeah. Well,
Plus me, my wife, and our daughter, and CMC and all of them.
But yeah, my spot is definitely
Loose Caboose, Mullen Road.
Yep.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Yeah, I wish I had like a simple answer for you, but I have variations. Mid-February, super cold. I love Michi. I love Michi ramen. We like to get a bigger group and go over there and smash mega bowls of the yellow curry ramen. Late November, football with the guys. It's baby clams at P Falls. I go to Paradise Falls and we'll snag a table, and I like comfort food, especially in the winter. So like I love those steamed baby clams and like garlic sauce. And then for a nice dinner to change things up these days, campfire. That was the old Bucksnort. I love campfire up on Evero Hill. And that's year round.
I love how he's got seasonal answers. We've never had that before.
Oh,
that's
nice.
new.
Well,
That's
it used
nice.
to be my spot, and I'm not going to dismiss it because it still might be a thing. But when I was a kid, I had a fake ID that said I was 18 just so I could go eat Montana Jack's chicken strips in the casino. And the girl, Katie, that was my girl over there, still works there. And she started doing the math, and she was kind of annoyed because I'd roll over as like a 15-year-old just for the chicken strips. I'd put $1 in the machine, $3 for the chicken strip basket. I bet I ate 1,800 pounds of chicken strips, before I was graduated.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
Rex, what's the weirdest thing about Missoula to you?
I read that question, and I don't want to get dark and negative, but all I could think of is the inequitable double standard of Missoula residents, and how I'm a rule follower, and I want to do not only what benefits me ethically, but I want to do whatever benefits my community and environment ethically. And there's demographics of people here that for some reason are not held to the same standard of living. Right now we have I think it's 22-month hiatus on approving building permits. And if you were to go down right now across the river from the DoubleTree, you'll see city signs that say "Don't pollute," and it's a little cute cartoon otter. But there's a whole full-blown community polluting our riverbank and making walkers on the Kim Williams Trail uncomfortable. And two things that drive me bonkers is say like a mom not feeling comfortable enough in our quote unquote walkable community to walk because she doesn't want to get screamed at and yelled at or made feel uncomfortable. I hate that our vulnerable people in our community these days don't feel great. And I hate pollution. I hate social and environmental pollution. And when I pull my permits, I do everything to the letter of the law, to the T, and I pay to do it, but there seems to be a demographic that can do whatever they want without any retribution. And that is weird to me. I know that's dark and it should just be like, oh, we're quirky, whatever, weird, but it's weird to me. And I want it to improve.
What zip code do you live in?
59804.
What do you love the most about Missoula?
I like our geographical location. I like that we are truly a melting pot of interesting people. There's like lazy creative artists that I love that I think are so valuable and cool. And then there's these, psycho job creators that throw gas on our economy, and it's awesome. And I love them too. I like sitting in a room at a table full of just a melting pot of people. And I still feel loved by what some, like from an outside perspective, if I'm sitting at a table with a group of people, an outside person looking in might think that I'm like a pariah or like might be too different than who I'm sitting with for it to even work. And it works just fine because I still feel like there's the innate love there here in town that we can put aside any like differences still just because we enjoy being around each other. I think that's cool.
Rex, is there a particular book you've read that has made a significant impact on your life?
A ton of them. Nothing specific other than, I really don't like cliches, but I will structure my life surrounding the messages in the Holy Bible forever. That'll be the greatest impact till I'm dead. That's kind of like a cringe cliche answer to some, I think, but that is just the most honest answer. I love Lord of the Rings. I love Jack London's Call of the Wild was really, really cool. And at the most baseline, Hatchet.
I was just gonna say, I bet you loved Hatchet in elementary school.
Hatchet was,
I can tell,
was nuts.
That's awesome.
So
funny.
Still
So
to this
rad.
day. Yeah, Hatchet for sure. It was very impactful.
That's you were on the
I was
edge.
going there. I knew I was ready for it.
Shout out. Yeah, no, Hatchet, and then all the spin-offs of Hatchet.
Wow. So what does mom and dad think? They're sort of the safety people, work your 25, 30 years, get your pension. When Rex takes that rugby contract and starts touring around Europe.
They were all for that. I was 22. I already had a decent amount of money. All my school I paid for out of pocket, and with help from my grandparents too. So like I had no major debt. I was at like the peak of physical rugby ability and skill. They did a year in New Zealand when they were young, right before they got married. They've traveled. They love travel. I was relatively sheltered, and from a cultural travel perspective, I had not been anywhere. So that was a no-brainer. I'm more crazy to them now as a 33-year-old dad of one and husband leaving a really lucrative role with a great company to start a waste management, environmental waste company. Like they don't have the entrepreneurial bug. Like you're saying, they dig in, but they also found things. I'm so jealous of them that they found steady Eddie jobs, but that really fulfilled them. Sure. That is so awesome. Mm-hmm. I just have never once had that.
There's for sure the pros and cons of, you don't have to carry some of the weight and stress home at night. You can clock in, clock out, compartmentalize 100%. Life. But as an entrepreneur,
no, never.
You lay there in bed and your brain is rolling.
My wife jokes that I do math in my sleep. I'll be doing budgeting. I'll like talk in my sleep, and it's numbers and dates and stuff. And yeah, you're right. Yeah. But my brain doesn't turn off in general. So like I'm thriving in this environment right now that I've never thrived because my ceiling is my ceiling. I've always hit ceilings with growth and creativity when I work for somebody, and that's okay. You have to have policy. But for me, I create my own policies and there's no ceiling. And I love that.
So walk us through that. You had this nice steady job. I'm assuming you came back and were working with, from
the UK. Yeah. Yes. So we built that up when I got back, sold to moved it to San Antonio to grow it in a larger market to eventually sell. That only sold 2 years ago.
Okay.
From there, it was kind of easy because I knew the ins and outs of the local utility providers. And so then I was able to get into the construction division of installing fiber and stuff.
Gotcha.
In those buried utilities. And then I've always had like the sales ability, and I love it. I love the sales process. I love closing deals, stuff like that. So I just transitioned from the actual implementation of it to the sale of the service and the utility itself. And that's what I did leading up to going nuts.
How did you come to the point where you're like, I got to do my own thing? Walk us through that.
It was just an impending, like, I really should look up the actual definition of like an existential crisis thing, but like I felt my body deteriorating. I felt my mind, I was coming home with tired eyes, but my body was still itching to do things. But my mental fatigue was so much because I was in a sedentary environment, so much working inside. And I don't know, I kind of felt like I hit a time in my early 30s now that if I was ever going to do anything, which is not totally accurate, I think everyone can do anything at any time. But in this time, I was scared of what my body was doing, and I wasn't disciplined enough to get the workouts and the movement in that I needed to feel good at the end of the day. And also having to adhere to rules and regulations and policies that weren't my own was just kind of exhausting. And so it's cool because it's a hybrid of like what my parents did and what fulfills me in that porta potties and septic waste disposal stuff is not pretty, but it's very consistent and it's constantly needed. And also there's variations of how I'm doing it that are so different and I hope refreshing compared to the status quo of the industry people that normally are septic.
You've been asked this 100 times, I'm sure, but why porta potties? Like when you went to start something, how did you land?
Well, once you're licensed by the DEQ as a licensed waste hauler, you're on a public list. And when I bought my septic truck and started Clearwater Services of Montana, the texts were constantly rolling in from my builder friends if I had porta potties to put on their job sites. And then they sent me, like, this was only like 4 months into business. I was getting screenshots of these emails from an established porta potty provider in Florence sending cease of service letters saying, we are so sorry, we're closing. We are no longer supporting, remote locations with our porta potties. We're going to pick up our assets as we can. Thank you for your business. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Why were they doing that?
It was a family-owned thing, and the family dynamic kind of deteriorated. I don't know specifically, and I don't really like saying.
Sure, just get out of the business.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, this is a need. This is a really unique time because I can immediately backfill this need. So I just scrambled and I called a bunch of people to see where I could buy porta potties and equipment. And then this dude out of Anaconda told me to come up and meet him. And I just bought his little business, and those 20 units went out immediately. And all I've been doing lately is just buying porta potties. I just drive to Spokane. I get hotshot drivers to bring me porta potties. And I had to pivot my focus to the Ponderosa Portables because that's where I'm riding the lightning right now with that, and it's going even better. The events have been amazing. Like my job site customers are my core monthly revenue and I really like them. I love being on job sites. I love the project management aspect. I love watching the phases of construction and talking to the generals. And I will say that's been received really well from the generals. They know that their porta potty guy cares about the health of the project and timelines and stuff. And I'm also adaptive to their needs. So like sometimes equipment will roll in or they need to do some excavation work on one side and I'll bump that porta potty to the other side and without any complaint, because it really is not difficult. It's just effort. But man, us getting in with Run Wild Missoula was incredible.
Mm.
We're not big enough to support the Missoula Marathon yet. And that's okay because Run Wild committed to using us for all of their races. And they've been so cool to work with. And I love event promotion. So on top of just dropping porta potties and picking them up, I'm promoting their events. So like all like the Elk Ramble or all these fall races, we do little things on ours, or my plan is I've been doing it a little bit, but I really want to be, like I joke with James, my partner, like we're not a porta potty company. We're a promotion company. But like, if I was a promoter of something, I would love any additional exposure, especially if it's come from the porta potty provider. Like, and clean branding is something I really love in a dirty business. I think it's cool. And that's why I went Ponderosa. There's no poop puns. There's nothing like Ponderosa Portables is just it's our state tree. I like the logo that I designed. It's cool. So
how many porta potties do you own?
120.
Dang.
Now, starting in 20 of them in late October of 24.
I'm sure there's an aspect of the job that's pretty gross, pretty dirty.
Yeah.
What is do
you straight up want to know?
Yeah. Do you enjoy this?
I enjoy, so I know this is going to sound cringe, but I get into this flow state, like right now I run the construction route, which is a 20-mile square radius in Missoula. We have north, south, west routes that we break into regions. And when no people in the neighborhood are throwing dog poop bags into the toilets as a garbage receptacle, please don't do that. And I don't have to pay attention to foreign objects in there. And it's just the standard use. I get into this weird flow state where I roll up, mix it up, pump it, clean it above and beyond what the standard industry standard is, and then I go to the next one. And then I get in such like an efficient pace that sometimes I'll see one of my generals or I'll see a sub that I want to talk to on a job site, and I have the time and I love those conversations. It's gross. It is gross. But it doesn't have to be as gross as some people make it. Like it's funny. I get made fun of non-waste people for working in a poop business. And I get made fun of by the poop guys because I wear medical gloves and I dress decent and I try and like look good because I treat myself, especially with like real estate stuff. When I do real estate inspections for the septic system, I present myself and act as if I'm on behalf of the realtor that's representing the seller or buyer. And they know it's not some grubby, weird dude that's creeping around a high-end listing. I go in there and I enjoy creating the digital reports too with media involved. And it's not just like bullet pointed thing.
How often do you find foreign objects?
Let's say, events are different. Events are gross, straight up gross. Like a big gnarly event like Maggot Fest was horrendous. That was 100, and Pride was really ugly too. Anything that there is like a knick-knack, a part of the event. So beads, necklace beads, straight up noodle wagon, food dumped in there, beer cans. It just sucks. It just creates extra effort. And it's, if I miss it and it sucks up into my pump system, it's hard on it. It's damaging. Not frequently. No. And I created these stickers too. So one of my stickers says, "We care about our tradesmen. If there are any issues that need to be addressed prior to your next scheduled service date, please text us." And I put those on the inside of all the doors. I'd like to create another sticker that maybe has like my son's face on it. Be like, "This revenue feeds this little kid. Please don't put garbage in the toilets." Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm being an entitled baby, but like it's annoying. It just creates more work and it's hard on equipment. Short answer would have been 10% of the time foreign objects.
I'm sure you have some crazy stories.
Oh yeah. Not that crazy. because I'm worried.
I'm like, the outhouse is tipping over, and I mean,
Dude,
like
blowovers.
some of that, but I'm sure you've got
sparkler bomb
Oh,
over Halloween. That was frustrating, but I had that coming. I've pulled some stunts in my childhood that like were destructive and like unnecessarily hard on things. So like I know I've got some karma coming to me, and the sparkler bomb up Miller was annoying, but I just had to. Well, James did that actually. He went and replaced the toilet seat, and actually just swapped it out. We had to do a little maintenance on it. Yeah, I'm scared. I'm actually scared. I'm scared to find like I'm scared to find a dead person. That's always been a fear of mine in general, because when I was a kid, one of the older brothers found a dead dude in the river bottom, and that story scared me so bad that, sometimes people use porta potties as like temporary shelter, and there's drug use and stuff. And I'm really afraid of finding either like an OD'd person or someone.
a body dumped, or
Yeah.
it's like a CSI.
Dude, there's one on the north side that I've had to. This dude hangs out and he crushes beers and milk. He drinks beers and milk.
Oh, that sounds awful.
I know, right? Especially in 1,000-degree porta potty. They're hot and I would not voluntarily want to just go have a meal. But like he rolls in there. And I say he, it might be a lady too. I don't know. And that, trying to be like sensitive, but he also throws it in the toilet. I'm just like, that's where my sensitivity goes out the window. I'm like, dude, put it in the corner. Like put it on the floor or chill in there for a while, as long as you're not affecting the guys that are working on that job site. And then just don't be a detriment to the thing, and you can chill in there. But that sucks. I hate that.
Rex, I'm going to close this up with a final couple of questions. Maybe Brandon has some as well. I love your story so much, because literally you saw a need and you're like, well, I guess I'll go down that route and fill that need. And it's just so cool. It reminds me of like Dirty Jobs, and you're just in it. You're in the mix. But there's a lot of young people, or maybe even people in their 30s or 40s, that are having existential crises like yours, and they're stuck in a job that it's killing them.
Yeah.
They may get paid well, but it's killing them. What advice are you given to those sorts of people to maybe help them get unstuck?
I will straight up tell them to give me a call. Me specifically. You can drop my number and I will talk to them, because I was not healthy about mine. I would also encourage, don't lean into drinking at all. It's the easiest, most accessible way. If you're a creative person, or if you're a stressed person and your wheels are constantly turning, if you're anything like me, or if you've had head injuries and stuff, the easiest, most undisciplined thing in the world is to dive into booze. And I would really, really advocate that you don't do that. With that being said, if you are doing that, try and figure out ways to get away from it. And I don't blame you for doing that, because it's too accessible and it's too easy for me. It makes me care less about the difficult things that I'm carrying. So that's been a personal struggle of mine, but, if you don't want to call me, I don't blame you, but, call somebody or meet with somebody that if you have someone in your life that you really respect, or even don't. I think there's probably a lot of guys out there that would be receptive to a phone call, even from a stranger, and say, I'm having a really tough time. I'm a capable person. I want to work hard, but I'm unfulfilled and I'm in a dark place and I'm carrying a ton of weight. I know it's difficult. I didn't do that. That's why I'm saying I think you should do that if you are carrying that weight. But also, as like a dad and husband, you don't want to add additional weight to your spouse, knowing that their spouse isn't okay. So that's why a friend or a total stranger might help, because you might find resources from them without putting additional pressure on your partner.
Yeah.
It's powerful. I think it's a great place just to wrap it and end it there. Rex, I admire your integrity. Just your overcoming adversity. Sounds like time and time again. Appreciate what you're doing for our community. And I've taken it for granted, but I'm really grateful for porta potties as I look back at my life and events, and
Yeah.
you have provided a service that I need.
And as a runner, I do a lot of Run Wild Missoula events. Thank you. Those are lifesavers, as you know.
Don't throw your ice packs in the toilet, please.
I'm going to have a conversation with my children tonight, and we're going to make some house rules on how we treat porta potties.
Good.
Because
And how, if
that
you're on
would be-
septic too, there's good rules.
Yeah.
No Zins, no Band-Aids, no rubber bands, no weird stuff other than toilet paper.
Noted.
You heard it here.
I know you're on the. I know you're on city sewer, and that's okay. But still, but thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, the tone of it is no weird stuff in the porta potty.
Awesome. Thanks for coming in, Rex.
Yeah.